Duncan Olney here, and I'm at Blog, Indiana with none other than the inimitable Chris Brogan. Chris, welcome again to Indianapolis.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to still be here.
And we were earlier talking about System of a Down, but right now we're going to talk about eating your own dog food, Chris. And I know this is an issue that's very close and near and dear to your heart. And basically it's about people in PR, marketing, branding, social media people practicing what they preach.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're going to be telling people that these are the tools to use and you're not, an embedded native in this system, then you've got an issue. You've got to really work on, making this really ingrained into your lifestyle. It's not, these social media tools aren't something you do, between 10 and 6 or something. And response times aren't that anymore. If you're thinking PR, this is not a 24 hours response game anymore. It's minutes. It's minutes within an hour.
And so the importance of living the paradigm becomes even more relevant because of the fact, as you mentioned just now, with response times. If something comes your way, you've got to have a process in place, and you've got to have lived it in order to tell a client how to do it.
Sure. I mean, if somebody's used to maintaining, say, their Facebook profile, if they're used to keeping up with comments on a blog, they're going to be a native to doing that again and natural. If there's someone who says, hey, wow, no one's buying banner ads, I guess I'll make a new blog. That's a whole different game.
Right.
I mean, that's just not the same equation. And it's really, there's a lot of people, I think, who are doing it just because it's what they have to do right now. There's a lot of web designers who are suddenly social media experts. And there's a lot of PR marketing people who said, wow, they're not buying this, but they buy this if I just call it that. And so, I mean, I don't eschew everything that's come before. Instead, what I'm saying is, if you're going to get out there and do that, get in deep. Because there's no value in skimming the surface.
Get in deep, and I know that one of the things you've talked about a lot is a convergence approach. It's like the other stuff works. We're not saying that traditional marketing doesn't work.
Right.
We're saying use it in the appropriate place.
Exactly. And also I want to say, Duncan, that there's a whole thing about where physical world is not being handled very well by the people who are very social world. And they need to get out of their seats too. They have to learn that you can't just do it from a laptop. You've got to get out in the humans.
I think there was a discussion online a few days ago about social anxiety and how you're doing so much stuff online and you're worried about the next thing or the conversation you're missing. And so I think the thing that I think a lot of people forget is that you got to get, as you just said, back into the real world, because all the meaningful stuff is happening in the real world.
Yeah, I mean, we can't discern what the value of a tool is if we're still sitting behind our desk just observing the tool. We have to understand how humans are interacting, and then we have to understand both how they flow online and how we integrate that into what they're doing in the offline world. I mean, think about early print ads that started utilizing the web just basically through a URL. And now it's, there's more to it. You can use it as a piece of a game. You can use it as an interactive piece. You could say, take a photo of this and it'll actually show up a new pattern on the web. That's interactive marketing.
Right.
Well, now, how does interactive marketing now bridge to social? That's the next big piece, is how that bridges up.
And as far as the conversation is concerned, I mean, how do you recommend people that are not in conversation mode? How do you recommend they get more engaged, they ask the right questions, and it's not this one-way stream of, hey, I did this, I went here, I talked to this person?
Start by listening. The answer is always listening, because the tools for marketing from 1950 to 2006 are all about blurting. And if we listen, then we get to hear what people are saying. Listen to your competitors, listen to your critics, listen to the people that support you, and actually focus the most on the people who support you and grow them. Because it's really hard to please critics, but it's really easy to empower the people who are saying nice things about you. And that's where we falter all the time. We put out fires, but we don't raise up the people who really want to be our biggest fan.
It's sort of like, it's so simple. It's like, show love to the people that show you love. I mean,
it's in most holy books, every single holy book. If someone loves you, be nice to them.
Social media karma, right?
There you have it.
So one more question about the value of integrating the approach. And let's not even talk about traditional.
Sure.
Just with the online approach, integrating mobile with email, mobile, SMS, email, social. What are your thoughts on that? Bringing it all together.
So technology-wise, there's a little gap still. There's a little issue between which tool for which time, which platform, what's the right way to get me. If I'm not paying attention to my phone, if I'm not using Twitter at a certain time, text always interrupts me. And that's, it can be good, it can be bad. But if you're texting me to say, I was just thinking of you, that's bad. You're interrupting me at a time when it doesn't matter. If you're emailing me that, then that's appropriate. So we still have this kind of flow that we have to work through on what this means to communications in general and what it means to business communications. Because then the next question with mobile is, we talked in the 90s about location-based advertising. We talked about what that's going to mean next. I don't want to be texted that the Starbucks has $1 off.
I hate that.
Just don't. But I do want to be texted, my friend Duncan's in this area, and I want to, say howdy to him because I didn't even know he was here.
Right.
So I mean, there's layers to what we trust.
And I think that the argument about permission-based for these, location-based coupons is kind of like shiitake, because it's like, yeah, I may have given you permission to send me things, but I don't want to be stalked.
Right.
I think that a lot of Americans are having a problem with that, even though that seems to be working really well in Asia.
Yes.
I think America is a different game when it comes to location-based.
Yeah. What's interesting about that? I mean, you're right. I mean, especially because Asia's had a lot longer time to deal with it. I mean, South Korea has had a lot of these services in place since we promised them back in the 90s. They just ran with it. I would say that we do have some comfort level issues still to go over with social networks. I mean, I had a guy talking to me at an event just 5 days ago saying, well, aren't you worried about all the privacy we give up with Facebook? I said, no, because you type into the keyboard. Facebook doesn't know you're sitting there.
Right.
You type, I'm here at this event. Right. And he was like, And so I think we as a culture, especially the Western culture, mostly America, has to kind of decide which one they're surrendering or not, because you don't have to be on the web.
And so as far as going back to the integrated part of it, there's more power in all of them coming together and working in conjunction with each other than doing this sort of disparate approach.
Agreed. There's a strategy that I use often called the home base and outpost strategy, where your site or your blog, most preferably a blog, is the home base, and then the outposts are places where you have starter conversations, but you want to sort of collect them to where you want to do your business.
Right.
So it's fine to keep engaging the troops on Facebook, but ultimately you want to bring that to where your business is, because otherwise you're letting Mark Zuckerberg decide your fate.
Right.
And I'm not a big fan of that.
I know that this is going to come across as being a bald man in envy, but I like to call it the corporate mullet. It's like, keep your business at the top, and make sure that you're doing your party in the back. So the mullet has never gone away.
True.
But
I'm still wearing one in spirit.
And one more question about keeping it real with the personal stuff, because no one wants, and going back to the corporate mullet, no one wants to hear your business, your helpful business or your business projections or your latest blog post all the damn time.
Right.
It's sort of like, can you give me, a song you're listening to?
Sure.
Or can you tell me, what films you like? So you sort of like become a little bit more filled out and not just this hardcore business skeleton. I know you do it.
You're spot on. And I advise companies about that all the time. I just was on a call like that yesterday where I was like, really no one cares about your dumb product. They want to get to know you. They build relations. I call it be there before the sale. I had a guy, Greg Cangelosi, we were friends. He sponsored my first ever PodCamp event, and for the price of a handful of beers, he forevermore has had referrals from me. I'm a client. My company bought the product. I sell the product into other companies, and by sell, I convince them that's what they should use for email marketing. So that was a really good ROI on a few beers. And
yeah,
because he was human first, you know what I mean? He was a human, and we buy from people we like.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Chris.
Oh, my pleasure.
We're looking forward to your keynote tomorrow morning.
Me too.
And from Blog Indiana, thanks so much to Noah, Snyder, and Sean for organizing all this and bringing Chris to Indianapolis. We wish you the best of luck and talk to you soon.
Thank you so much.